Ready? Okay. All right. I think we're technically there, maybe. So we've been working on trying to get this thing recorded for a little bit. So we'll start the meeting. And
Can you guys hear us?
Can we
okay?
hear us? Thumbs up, sweet. Okay. So yeah, we're your hosts tonight. You're stuck with us. The I guess tonight's meeting, we're going to start off by just finding out where everybody's at with wins for the week. We know that Bethany and Rachel had a good meeting, and we know that Iowa group had a good meeting. Anybody else have something they want to share for the week?
And I'll be with Mr. Taylor.
Have to. All right. Okay. So basically sort of our situation this week was that we were able to go to Summit, and we were asked to share a little bit about that tonight and sort of what we were thinking about it. Jen is out hiking in the wilderness, so she probably can't get access to join us tonight. So I told her we'd say a bunch of good things for her. I'm going to put the music down. There you go. Okay, good. Karen, you want to start with it?
Sure. What I can tell you is when we went out to the event this weekend, it was one of the things that really stuck with us is not only does corporate want to acknowledge people that get there and they work really hard to do that, they're just really available to us, which is something I never thought of. I mean, I never thought about the fact that I could call and ask them to help us review our business and help with those individual questions. I mean, we rely so much on each other and those things, and I think that still needs to continue. But it was a very interesting, very intimate, in a sense. I mean, there were still like 72 people, I think, total that had earned that trip, Growth Summit. But we sat down with corporate at the table, and then we talked to them individually, and it was unbelievable how much we felt coming out of it. That, I mean, we think that LifeVantage does a lot of great things for us, like they provide us tools and shareables and things like that. But I just never realized how available their staff is to any of us. And it's just really powerful. And so I don't think they want us to be calling them every day, but it was something I had never really thought of. So that was one takeaway I had from it.
Yeah, I would say, we sort of had an idea of what we were going to expect for this and why we shot for this. And our main goal is to get everybody else there now too, because it really was what they were promoting it to be. You felt special. We had a little red carpet treatment coming up where they surprised us. The training was good. It was relatively brief. We had about a half a day of full training. But we had it with Mark and Kim, two of the highest people in the company. And it was really pretty amazing, very, very focused. The facilities there are amazing. So it was really nice to be on site. I think that was a special takeaway that we got for just being there. And then, when Karen's talking about the 72 people that were there from the international, probably 30% of the people there were international. So people came 30 hours from Japan and Taiwan and the Philippines and Australia. There are people there from Ireland, Canada, Mexico. So literally it was a very, very diverse group. And then you had your US people there too. So it was really special in that regards. And you got to meet people. And I would say, that as we're getting ready to go, Michelle Poe is texting us, telling us sort of what we should look at doing. And Amy told us that too, as far as, develop relationships, get to know corporate really well. And you're sort of going, okay, this is going to feel awkward, but it really wasn't. It was so fluid and genuine that was very easy just to sit down and start talking to people. And I think we really, in a day and a half, developed probably at least a half a dozen to a dozen relationships I think are going to keep going forward and help us to propel us to grow our business. So, it's a little hard to explain. You're hoping that you're going to get out of that, and you're hoping you're not going to be let down by the work you have to do to get to it. But we weren't let down. So, what else?
I know that this was like one of our first goals, and it always has been. And it's like we've been with LifeVantage 6 years now. So ups and downs through that process, but definitely a goal you guys need to focus on and get to. It's unbelievable how motivating it is. A lot of times we go to conferences and I feel so exhausted afterwards. It's hard to come back. And I didn't feel that way. I felt like they really filled our cup and gave us incentive and helpful information. We talked about it on the way back on the flight. You still have those negative, thoughts that pop into your head, like, you think you can do it, and then you start coming home and you're like, yeah, I don't know. But that's normal. And it's one of the things that really stuck out to me, it pushed us for sure. I mean, it pushed us to sit down with someone, and some people are really good at it. They sit down and they just start talking and they share information and they're asking questions, and not always the most comfortable thing for me, for sure. But the other people there just made it easy as well. The people that were there to learn, and we just one after another sat down and learned about people and what they're doing. We joked about the fact that social media is not something that I'm good at all. And yet I have people that say, I build my business 98% in social media. Call me anytime. And so it's that kind of support that you find out there. And I'm encouraged. I think that's on our team for Phil and I, that's an area I'm going to have to grow with, is social media. And so I joke that someday I'll be training, because I'm so bad at it that if I can get up there and tell you the stories that I don't even know how to change my profile picture. And so it's been, it's just motivating. I did feel like one of the thoughts that came to me this weekend is Phil and I have other businesses we work, and both of them are service businesses. He's a chiropractic. He cares for people through service. I work with deaf and hard of hearing individuals by providing a service of captioning and ASL. That's what we do on our other work. And I think for the network marketing thing that switched a little bit for me is I just don't see the argument anymore about why it would be a bad thing. Not only all those things that we've learned about network marketing and how much this community is, but I see it now as a service. I just really don't see the difference between the work I do when I reach out to a college or a governmental agency and try to explain to them that I'm here because we provide this service and you need to know it. You need to know I'm here. You need to know we have it. For some reason, it just clicked for me this weekend that I don't really feel any differently when I talk to people or when I'm going to approach people about LifeVantage, because it's a service to them, whether it's a product that can change their lives physically, or it's a business opportunity that will change their lives financially. And so, I don't know, it's just kind of opened doors for me, and it makes me feel like I'm not going to be afraid, and I don't care what people say about network marketing, because there's just nothing. The more we learn and the more we are exposed to it, it's unbelievable. And so that was one of the things that I took away from the weekend, for sure.
While we have Jennifer here, since she's out in the boonies and she has reception, let's grab her thoughts for the night before we lose
Hey
her.
guys, that was wonderful. Those were good takeaways, Phil and Karen. It was so much fun to get to spend the weekend with them. I just hiked up like I don't know, 2,000 feet or something. I don't know why my husband does these things. And I'm just like, this felt like Team Upward tonight too. Like this walk way down into the plummets. And I'm wondering if my kids are going to fall off the edge, and so scared about them. And the whole time I'm thinking like, this is what it's going to feel like when I get back to work. And there's this huge uphill hike coming back up. But you know what? I made it. And none of the kids fell off the cliff. Thanks be to God. But I just kept thinking like Team Upward the entire way up. And it's so fun to like see this vision and think about our team's logo, but then also think about the upward mentality shift that I had coming away from this weekend. So they started the weekend on Friday with a really wonderful dinner, and they took us to a tulip festival. But when we got there, they were talking about vision, like your vision quest and your vision map. So a lot of us were starting at MC1. And as I thought about like what it took for me to get to MC1, I was reflecting on how I can get my team there. But all of that really came after Kristen was talking about what would it do for your business if you had 5 members that were SC1 or 10 members at SC1, that would get you to MC1. And what if you had that many more that then go on to reach MC1? Like, what would it do for your business if you had 5 people at MC1? And then you just keep growing from there. And it's like these bite-sized pieces of growth. And eventually she got to the point of talking about Mark and how Mark has 5 presidentials in his team. And then Mark got up and spoke, and he was just so down to earth, and he was so wonderful. And you're like, man, I just want to talk to him because he's so sweet and so kind. And you would never know that he has grown his business so big, or that he's just so busy. Like he still has time to talk to you and to teach you and to love on you. And I listened to him and I was just like, wow, this is possible. Like I can keep growing the business that big. And I just had this huge mindset shift of, knowing I wanted to grow, but realizing it is a reality for any single one of us if we just decide to commit and decide to care about every single person that's in front of us and decide to just keep staying consistent with our actions. Just do it. Just stay consistent, set your goals, go after them, and realize like if you're feeling stretched, you're supposed to feel stretched. If you're doing something that God is calling you to do, you should feel stretched. And it's okay to feel stretched because once you hit the top of that, you can celebrate. And it's amazing. Like I was definitely just stretched walking up that many thousands of feet, and it was insane. But it was this huge accomplishment at the top. But there's also just like this connection that comes throughout that process. And unless you're willing to do it yourself, you can't show a team how to do it, but you definitely can't teach a team how to do it. And he talked a lot about being an amateur versus a professional. And when you're an amateur, you're telling people what to do and expecting them to go out and do it. But when you're a professional, you are helping them create their own vision. And then you're with them through that vision, and you're talking to them about like, who do you want to invite to your event? What are your goals? Like, what conversations do you want to have with those people so that you can really be intentional with them and create a relationship that lasts forever with them? And just continuing to come back to those relationships and those connections and keeping your mind and your focus on those relationships and those connections and teaching and educating will allow you to build retention and allow you to just keep blowing up your business and growing it in a really beautiful and sustainable way. So those were my big takeaways from the weekend. I really enjoyed getting to talk to all of the people that were there and learn about how they were growing their businesses. And I can see how each and every single one of you really needs to like put this on your vision board, because it really did shift my perspective on this becoming a primary business and not just a secondary business for me. And I know for a lot of us starting out, it's a secondary thing, but it was a really cool mindset shift to see this build into a primary business. Does anybody have questions about the experience or what it was for us? I mean, so many
You know, I think-
questions.
But no, I think again, just finding, you know, if anybody does have any questions as we go through this whole thing too, you know, just reach out to any of us. We can be happy to talk about it. But it is an experience that you have to sort of wrap your head around. And you've heard, it's interesting as you talk to people there who, you know, you're looking at presidentials who are going back and talking about their experience at Pro 5. You know, and this was the first summit type of thing that they had. So yeah, I don't know. I don't want to cut anybody off. If anybody's got any questions, feel free to just jump on any time. I think one thing that I really want to bring, go ahead.
Well, Amy just was asking about action steps, but you go ahead and complete your thought and then I can come back to action steps.
I guess the one thing I wanted to bring up that before the thing is done here is something that, you know, there's a lot of things we don't do right. The one thing I thought that we did right is we came back, you get on the plane on the way back and you initially go, oh my gosh, this is insurmountable, because you go through these, they make you write down your goals, which are, again, sort of like Africa or anything, is just a little bit really stretching you, you know? And so one thing we did though is we've got a couple meetings set up this week already to go into before we get off the plane. So you don't have time to let those negative doubts go back into your head. So one thing I would say before, for anybody going to anything, and again, you know, events like this is where the decisions are made, and we know that, and it's nothing's more true than that. But on top of that, when you get back, you know, you really want to have a way to keep the momentum going. So that's one thing I would say is a non-negotiable, that you always have that set up.
Before you go is what he means. Like
Right.
we had meetings set up for this week before we went. So then it's like it changes your focus. You don't have time to have all this negative.
And if for some reason the meeting doesn't get set up, you know, the way you want to, somebody bags out on you, then set something up with your consultants to come back and game plan with them. I mean, it doesn't have to, you know, life's going to throw you curveballs, but you have control over certain things that you can always make those forward steps. So.
I think that's a really good point of view. I actually did that myself, set up meetings. And one of the things that Mark was talking about is, you know, if you want to grow your business steady, like he put up the example of get 5 consultants in your business and then work with their downlines and their customers. But every time that a new consultant comes on, like you're having within 24 to 48 hours, like you're having a one-on-one with them and talking about their goals and talking about what they want. So you're having these events, but then you've got to really be consistent with those follow-ups to help those people continue to grow and find out what they're really wanting. So when Amy asks about action steps, you know, in the beginning, like Jillian told me, you need to, like, if these are your goals, then you need to set up these events and you need to invite 30 people to each event. And I did that. And that doesn't mean that they were always packed or full. Like we had larger ones and we had smaller ones, but I just continued to stay consistent with it. And I think that's what really allowed me to get to this place. It wasn't just working in the office. Like it was the events that grew my business bigger, because that's where you're communicating the products, you're communicating the business, and you're also communicating your community and your culture. Like they get to come and they get to feel the culture of the business that you're growing and the culture of Life Vantage. So just taking those consistent action steps definitely are what allowed allowed me to get to this point. And, you know, I started in a place of being like, yeah, I love these products because I'm a chiropractor and I want this for my patients. But I was still really skewed on network marketing. And it's taken me, it took me several months to finally switch my mindset shift into a place of a pyramid scheme and then flipping that pyramid and realizing like you can go as far in this as you want to and you're not limited. So it's helping to educate people as you go along and teach them about that and give them the same tools that helped you grow and helped you make that mindset shift. So if you know there's tools that you found that worked well for you, share those things and educate your consultants about those things. And if there's reasons that you love the products and stay consistent with the products and you keep taking them, like share those tools, because those tools are going to bring value to your customers and they're going to bring value to your consultants. And then your consultants can go on and continue to teach that to their customers and their consultants. So, you know, it's just consistency with doing those same things over and over again, which you guys, you know, those things like Steph, you're so passionate about learning and you just keep engaging with learning and then you get to teach other people those things. And it was such a blessing the other night when she was at an event with me and we both got to talk about the product and just validate each other and grow the mindset for the people that were at that event. So that's another thing I would really encourage, like do this, like keep doing this together. We have all of us in this team and we love each other and like use the resources of each other, because I think you've all seen how that impacts our businesses. It just builds them and it edifies each and every single one of us as we grow our businesses. Sarah, are you ready to go this fall? Jen, I know you're going this fall. What do you guys want to do to grow so you get to Summit? What are you going to do?
I am going to help continue launching, finding new consultants and helping to launch them. So we just brought on another one and she's hungry. So she had her first meeting on Saturday. We're having another one in 2 weeks. And so just working schedules and just like you said, you know, you can go as far as you want to. So build wide and deep.
Amen. Amen. And then also give Katisha that mindset, like, Katisha, you're going to be there too. Am I saying her name right? Katisha? Is that right?
Sorry,
Yeah?
Yeah, it's Katisha.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
She will be there.
That's right.
How about you, Sarah?
It doesn't look like she can talk at the moment.
Oh,
You know, I think the big thing too they were talking about was how much work they really want you to put into your consultants, you know, and Mark was talking about that he's for the first was 30 days or whatever, he was working with these people pretty much every day. It seemed like a lot of work to do that, you know, and I think, you know, we were talking about how much time is that going to take to do and how much, you know, you don't want to bug them, but you're going to have to have them help them and push them out of their comfort zone. And Amy did that with us to some degree, you know, and some degree it's uncomfortable when you do it, but just know that they have to see the vision of where they can get to, and you have to keep, some people get that vision sooner than others. I think that's the biggest thing is you have to sort of go, I got to get that vision and jump on it as quick as I can. So that's what I think is an important thing. I mean, it's amazing when you listen to these people and again, the corporate was so, you know, when we first got there, I told Steve Fife as we got in there, I said, you know, this is where we made our decision. And he's like, okay, it's going to be interesting to see what you do on this next one, you know? And so they're looking for that type of thing. And I really think that corporate, once you get there, they're going to pour into you more. That's what I was feeling. Really got that feeling, you know?
Yeah, and
they
I
do.
guess sorry, go ahead, Jennifer.
No, I I agree. They poured in a really beautiful way. Like I came away knowing exactly what I wanted to do. I'm going to hit MC2 in May, and I have got 5 meetings booked so far in May, and I'm going to book 5 more meetings in May with 5 different consultants, at least 2 events, if not more, with each of them to get to that place. So how many meetings are you guys all booking in May already? Put it in the notes if you can't talk.
Don't trust them. They're like chihuahuas.
Go
The nice
ahead.
thing this also takes and
What were you saying?
sort of creates a catalyst. I mean, so we've got 3 meetings this week with individuals, and we're meeting with our consultants tomorrow, two of our consultants to sort of game plan the next month or so. So it does feed a fire. And I think that's a big thing with it. So
Amy, you have 1 booked. How many are you going to have booked? I agree. You need 4 more, Rachel. Do it, girl. 7 minimum. I like that. 7 is a lucky number. Do it.
Well, and
Sarah,
I would
did you put a
encourage,
number? Sorry, go ahead.
I would encourage you guys to give yourself some grace too. I mean, we're all different. We're all different personalities. I'd like to say that we have a solid plan as well as Jennifer has planned out. And I'll tell you right now, we don't. And it's just because that's just some of our disorganization maybe, or just the way we approach it.
Karen's getting a little hard on herself. We actually got some, the day after when we sat down, we're waiting for our thing. We actually finally got our numbers down that they wanted us to do. I think we got a little more realistic. The Africa thing was our big game plan, but I think we extended that out a little bit more. You know, if we magically hit it, that would be great. But I think we've got a game plan when we want to hit, you know, EC1 and everything else, and you know, and try to stay balanced, but it's just still working the process and still going with this. So yeah, and giving yourself grace is a big part of it. It really is.
Well, and what I want to say as well is it's different, and we're all going to do it differently. But the amount of work that Mark was talking about with reaching out, you know, choosing 5 that are running and talking to them every day. At first it was like, wow, but here is the leader, like one of the absolute, I don't know where he is in the
It's gotta be tough.
list, but he's very high. When he lists all those presidentials under him, and he's doing that work. And so we can all approach it differently, but you've got to dig in and you've got to do it, and you've got to keep working and pushing yourself, because I can guarantee you Growth Summit is worth it. It's going to be the thing, I think, with the majority of the people there, that this is a point where it's pivotal for them. I remember when Amy and Grant got there, because I remember watching them, and I'm telling you, we have seen a big difference in Amy and Grant since they went to that. So use it. It is 7:29, so I don't know if you guys want.
Yep. They did keep telling us when we were there too. They said the next group of leaders are coming out of this group. Over and over, they told you that. So, and the people we saw there were that kind of people too. So, you know, by getting there, you're going to actually do the habits that are necessary to take that next step and become the leader that you need to be, both for your team and yourself. So
The 3 habits that they talked a lot about were educate, add value, and retain. Educate, add value, and retain. Educate, add value, retain. And just keep thinking that, and just keep doing that, guys, and just keep blessing. You're totally right about the habits.
We're going to let you guys go so you can jump on the pose. But thanks for being with us and letting us try to stumble through this. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Have a great weekend.
thank you.